because we're gonna need some of that energy. I'm really excited about the next speaker because I'm no e-commerce hero. I'm just a designer. So whenever someone talks design, I get all nerdy and excited. And our next speaker, Miryana Markova, is gonna tell us exactly about that. How do you do mobile redesign? And most importantly, how do you create successful mobile redesign? So she's going to tell us about some of the client work that they have been doing for House of Fraser. Please give a big round of applause for Miryana. Welcome on stage. You got the microphone running? I'm just going to plug you in. There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah? All right. Great. So, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you here. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is, as Stefan said, Miryana Markova. I work as a software development manager for eCommera. For those of you who have not heard the name, there's actually a nice banner over there, so you can read a few words about the company. Just to give you a brief summary, what we actually do is create high-performance e-commerce solutions for our customers. And basically, we provide for them both the technology and consulting services to make sure they keep ahead of their competition. So the topic that I'm going to talk about today is basically related to a project that the company carried out recently. It was a redesign of the website for one of our biggest customers, House of Fraser. And the idea of the redesign was to make the website mobile-friendly and touch-friendly. And the result of this, as the subtitle says, it's actually the fact that House of Fraser won Mobile Retailer of the Year twice in a row. So basically the topics that I'm going to cover today, first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about who House of Fraser are, because I'm sure they're not very popular in Bulgaria. They're basically a United Kingdom-based retail group. So they don't have any stores yet here in Sofia. Then I'm going to talk about the actual details of the redesign. And basically in the third part of the session, I'm going to cover the results, both from business perspective and also talking a little bit about the rewards and the recognition that House of Fraser got because of the redesign of their website. So let's start first with the challenge. Who House of Fraser are as a business, and why did they decide they actually needed to redesign their website so that it is touch-friendly? House of Fraser are actually a 165-year-old department store chain which originates in the United Kingdom. They have 59 land-based stores, both in the United Kingdom and also in Ireland. And they have also two .com-concept stores. Actually, on the slide here, you can see an image of their .com-concept store. These stores actually have only the shopping windows in front of them. And then if you go inside, you see only kiosks where you can actually shop from their online store, choose whatever you like, and then in a few days you can come back to the store and pick up your order. It's a bit of a different concept than what we have here in Bulgaria. So the mission of the company, House of Fraser, is to be the premium department store of choice and make every customer feel like a VIP. Basically, all their strategy revolves around growing their brands. They offer more than 100 brands in various categories, both in their online and their offline stores. And of course, the company that I work with, eCommera, has been their trusted partner in building their website since its launch in 2007. So it's like more than 10 years we've been working together with them. A few words then about the modern retail client. I will try not to repeat what Jeanette already said. But basically, what I've written on the slide is really a summary of the video that she showed in the beginning of her presentation, that the modern retail client is really about now, about getting whatever they want very fast and optimized for the device they're using, be it desktop, tablet, or a mobile phone. And what is important for retailers and, of course, technological partners of retailers to understand is that what the customers really need right now is a personalized experience. They need to feel engaged, they need to feel entertained, and they need to feel that it is really easy to shop online. Basically, the customer has now more power than ever. So me as a customer, if I don't like your website, I will just switch. And in the process of switching, if I dislike it so much, I will also tell the world, I will go to some online forums and just say, okay, I didn't like this website. So you can imagine how this really damages the reputation. And besides the customer, let's talk a little bit also about the current retail environment. Well, I'm sure you've all heard that mobile dominates. Mobile is very important now. It's the hot trend, the buzzword, really. It's first and foremost. But what does it mean? Well, this is just a picture to illustrate a term that I've read recently in a magazine, which said that couch and pillow commerce is now very popular. It's a term coined to describe basically that people prefer to do their shopping from the comfort of their own home and even from the comfort of their own couch and bed. I've actually read recently a survey which said that among the tablet and smartphone owners in the UK, around 3.7% actually admit that they have made a purchase while on a bathroom break at home, meaning from the toilet. And another further 4.1% of, again, mobile shoppers in the UK say that they have actually made a purchase from in bath itself while taking a bath, just browsing on their tablet. Just some interesting information that really comes to tell us that customer service and experience is now more important than ever, and what the retailers need to offer is really multi-channel experience, and they need to make sure that they anticipate and react to every change in the environment. So the big question in front of House of Fraser in this case was, well, okay, we know who the customers are, we know what our competitors are doing, what is our environment, so what should we do next? And the obvious answer was, well, invest heavily in making your website mobile and touch-friendly so that you get all these customers in the pictures to really shop from your website. And that's what they decided to do. However, this did not come without a few technological challenges. Now it's just random images that I've put on the slide, which were very common when actually mobile devices were in their early years, so to say. So there were a lot of issues with the pages. Sometimes some websites did not have a mobile version. Right now, luckily, everybody has some form of a mobile version, but just some form is really, really not enough. Just a few key challenges that I would like to highlight here. One of the important one, it's probably the biggest one, is the device and viewport size. Basically, all the different, for example, Android mobile phones, they all have different device size, different viewport size, different software. Then you have also the Apple tablets, phones, and so on. So you really have to make sure when you design your mobile website that it's kind of a one recipe fits all. Another thing that's really important to remember when you're designing for mobile is that mobile phones and tablets will most likely be used more on the outside, except on the inside in your own home. So you have to be really careful about the color scheme that you're choosing. And one third thing, which is the last but not the least important to remember, is that mobile phones, while very useful, are pretty slow if they are not on a Wi-Fi network. So you have to make sure that your pages are really optimized for size. So, armed up with this knowledge about the technological challenge, I would like to introduce briefly two concepts which are considered to be technical and modern buzzwords, but I will try to explain in very, very simple terms. So it's responsive and adaptive design. Well, what does it mean basically? The idea is that the content that you have with responsive design will fit fluidly depending on the viewport and size of the device that you're using. So if you look at the slide here, if we say this is the website header and this is the content, this is actually the desktop version. And if you look over here, this is the tablet version, so you can see how it's a little bit smaller. And here it's totally changed. There's some content also eliminated. This is the smartphone version. So this is the basic idea. Adaptive design is something very, very similar to responsive. The result that the customer will actually see is the same. But the idea is that the content will respond to a predefined set of actually screen sizes. So if you ask me what I would prefer my website to be responsive. Why? Well, this is just a few of the advantages. The ones which relate to the customer are consistency and flexibility. First of all, it is easier to share, interact with, and link to content because basically you will have exactly the same content on all your devices, on desktop, on tablet, on mobile. If I want to share something and I go to Facebook, I see the same thing, even though I am on a different device. And then there's consistency. You have feature parity and thematic consistency. It's all the same things that you will see across the devices. But really the most important benefits, they are around cost effectiveness, especially for the businesses. It's really around low cost of supporting new devices exactly because your content is responsive, so it will fit whatever the size of the viewport and the device. It's also easier to manage and maintain. Why? Well, because there's less content. If you have one version of your website that is desktop and one that is mobile, then there's double the content, double also the search engine optimization campaigns and so on. And also related to easier management and maintenance, there's the fact that you will actually have a consolidated report, you know, of all your conversion and stuff. So it's really much cheaper for the business if you decide to go responsive. And armed with this knowledge, actually, just a slide describing what exactly House of Razor decided to do. They decided to get the input from web analytics tool, from user surveys, A/B testing, user observance session, and their final goal was to actually receive a touch-centric website which is focused around interactive elements, and something else that was also very important for them is to make sure that they emphasize on the product. So that was pretty much all the theory. And now we're going to look at the actual pages that were changed and redesigned. The next slides are mostly actually screenshots, just showing how the site looks like at the moment. So let's start with the homepage. This is where you will usually land when you open a website. So this over here is the tablet version, and these two screenshots here are the mobile version. What was actually changed in the homepage was two things. First part was the header, and the second part was actually introducing on the whole page kind of a grid for current promotions, deals, and so on. So if you compare the two versions, the tablet one and the mobile one here, you will see that there's content that is missing. There's also here in the mobile version because of the less space. There's also content that has been moved, does not appear in the same order as in the tablet version, but it still looks nice. If you are browsing and look at it, you will say, okay, it's the same site, even though you might be looking on tablet or mobile. So if we come to talk about the header, this is actually something pretty important. You have to make sure that you have all the right information in the header of your website. So what was changed was really go from a lot of text in the header here and here that make it really hard to intuitively figure out where to click, go with a lot of infographics and also with hamburger menus here. Basically, what was changed was here, instead of this portrait, there used to be a link which said sign in, again text. Here, instead of the back icon, which shows what you have chosen to buy, there was again a link saying my back, so a lot of text, not easy to figure out what you need to do. Just the next slide is a little bit more about the navigation. So again, this is the tablet navigation, this is the mobile phone navigation. What we did was add 2 hamburger menus here. It was very important to make sure that the links on this menu are well spaced, so that when you tap with your finger over here, for example, you don't go to the upper or lower category. This is something very important. Previously, the navigation had 4 menus over here. So this search box, that's now very centered in the page and kind of like invites you to search for a product, was actually before here in this corner, and it was pretty small, and there was a lot of menus here. So what we did was basically redesign the navigation so that no information is lost. So the other 2 menus that were here, they were called Shop Clearance and Your Style. So clearance now became part of each category of this menu here, so you can see with the red text. And the other one just became part of the grid on the home page. Just the next slide will give you an idea how it looked before and after. So you can actually see the 4 menus here. You can see all the My Bag, Hello, Sign In, the small search field here. And this one here is just, it's obvious the emphasis on really infographics, on making things more intuitive for the customer. All right, so from the home page, either through the navigation or through a link on the home page, you will go to either a product listing or a product details page. What we have here on the slide is actually screenshots of the product listing page and the product details page on mobile. What was really important and what we changed here is put the image of the product in the center. So if you look at the page, what you actually see and what really gets your attention is the image. It's here in the listing and also here in the actual product details page. It was also very important to make sure that zooming on the image is very intuitive, very easy to use. Previously, I think we didn't even have a zoom option on mobile, and on desktop there was a small button that you had to click which said zoom. Right now, what we did after the redesign was have on the desktop and on the desktop version actually, just on mouse over, you will already have the zoom option. And here on mobile and also on tablet, it's just a simple pinch with your fingers. Another thing that was changed here, not only on mobile side, but also for desktop and tablet, was adding this sticky add to back button. Sorry, it's not very visible here because it's disabled, but basically the idea is that as you scroll down the page, you will still have the add to back button clearly visible, so that you can make your purchase from anywhere on the page, really. All right, next we're going to talk a little bit about the checkout pages. They didn't go a significant redesign. It was just bits and pieces that were changed. Something that's really good to mention is a service which is now widely offered throughout United Kingdom, and I think it's also offered actually throughout Europe. Not sure about Bulgaria though. So it's the click and collect delivery. Basically the idea is that you will purchase online whatever you like, choose a store from which to pick it up on a certain date, just go there and all your stuff is waiting for you. So we actually redesigned this part of the website here where you choose the store from which to pick up your order. There's a U pin which shows approximately the area where you are, and then there's also the small icons of stores where you can choose the actual store and the date from which you would like to pick up your order. Something else that was added with the redesign and which is actually a feature of the website, not really something related to the visual part, is the option for evening delivery. The idea was that you can actually get your goods in your own home after you have come home from work. So basically you can choose next evening or up to 14 evenings ahead to have your goods delivered, something that customers found very convenient, to be honest, and I would find it as well as a working woman. Another thing that was changed, and this is just the content page, as you see, this is a store locator page. was making this page pretty interactive so that you again have these pins which show you the address of the store. Also, you have the information about working time, how to get there, and so on. This actually is deemed very important from researchers about trends in mobile shoppers because usually people use their smartphones not only to shop, of course, they use them also when they're out to see where is the nearest shop. So this is some information that you would like to keep handy because you want to boost not only your mobile sales but also your offline sales in your actual stores. Something else kind of related to this is the feature called Store Stock Availability. Basically, the idea here is that from your online shop, you offer your customers the option to check the availability of certain product of size and color in their land-based stores. What we did was actually design this feature with mobile in mind. So it actually detects your current location and based on this suggests your closest stores, tells you if there's availability there. And if you click on the actual store, you can see, of course, the address. So you can imagine how useful this is. For example, if I'm invited to a birthday and I totally forgot because I'm so busy today, I just figure out, oh, okay, I go to the website, see if I can choose something for my friend, check if it's available in store, rush to the store and save a lot of time. This is actually a feature that has been really gaining popularity right now, and as far as I'm aware, most of the major retail online shops in the UK actually have it. So that was all around the screenshots, really. Now I'm going to say a few words about the more technical part. Really about making performance and optimized content. Remember how I mentioned that you have to be careful about the size of your page because when you're using a mobile device, well, if not on a Wi-Fi network, then you might have a problem. And actually, surveys say that if your web page does not load within 6 to 8 seconds, the users will just completely lose interest. So basically, this is just a few items to which we turned our attention. We made sure that all the images that we have on our mobile devices, both tablet and smartphone, are very well scaled. They're not cut off. And also the text that we have here is not too small, so it's really easy to read it. Next thing, which is really important, is to have adequate size and easy to click buttons. Basically, I'm sure each of us has really sometimes with poorly designed website had the frustration of clicking one link and actually going to a different place. It's just because you don't have enough spacing between the different lines of links. So what you can do here in this case is instead of links actually go with buttons. Buttons can be bigger, they draw attention, and they are much easier to click also. Something else to keep in mind is touch-friendly forms. So if you're using tablet or smartphone, make sure that your forms are pre-populated as much as possible, if possible, of course. And also they need to be really friendly, especially to these auto-correcting keyboards. Something else that I mentioned already previously when talking about the challenges is the optimized color scheme. Just make sure the colors are visible, the page looks nice even in bright sunlight. And last but not least, make sure page size is reduced. No big images on mobile, no heavy to load content, just really optimize, nice user experience. So that was pretty much it around the details of the project. So I will just tell you now a few words about the actual results of it. The first feedback that our customers, House Fraser, got was actually from the industry head of retail at Google. And this is really the feedback that they got. I don't have anything to add here except just read it. So I'm on my mobile and the new site looks and feels amazing. So quick to load and easy to navigate, particularly like how good the products look. Best in class execution. Well, I think it says nicely that we did a good job with helping our customers reach the goal that they have set for themselves. But let's say a few words about what the project actually cost. So the time it took us was 4 months to do the actual implementation, and then we had around a month and a half after that of user acceptance testing, where the customers could see all the bits and pieces and say, okay, this one we like, this one we don't, let's change it, and so on. The core team that participated in the project was around 15, 16 people from eCommera, developers, quality assurance engineers, business analysts, product managers. And we had also a team of around 10 people from House of Fraser. Something that was interesting here is that House of Fraser themselves had a team of UX designers who actually put forward the whole vision about the redesign pages that you saw. And just if we have to go into the numbers, there was around 203 separate features and changes that we did, and more than 1,000 individual engineering tasks that were completed. So it was kind of a pretty big effort. And eventually it paid off as well for House of Fraser. Let's look at the business results. Well, their e-commerce sales grew by 32% to represent almost 16% of all of House of Fraser sales, which meant that actually their online store became their most successful store. And it is so even up to date. If we're talking about profits, I can tell you that when House of Fraser started in 2008, actually their total e-commerce sales, not profit, but total sales, was 14 million pounds for 2008. For the months after we launched the redesign, their total e-commerce sales, again, not profit, was 350 million pounds. So you can imagine the difference for the years that have passed. But probably more impressive is really the profit. So their record total gross profit of both online and offline stores, from online stores it's around 20% of this one, was 460 million pounds. So looks like we did pretty good. Something else that was changed as a result of the redesign was that average order value on mobile devices increased by 10% and items per order increased by 4%. Also, it's something that I wanted to mention on the slide just as a trend, something that we're seeing even right now, is that mobile devices actually accounted for more than 40% of online sales, and every year, especially for House of Fraser, they see 100% growth from the orders placed from mobile devices. And as I mentioned earlier, basically, because of the redesign and the huge business success that it had, they actually received quite a few recognition rewards from different agencies in the UK, like Retailer of the Year from Retail Systems Awards for 2 years in a row. Also, they received Mobile Retailer of the Year from 2 separate agencies. And I'm not sure if it's visible, but let me try to tell this to you. You'll tell me if it's visible. So this is actually the award from 2015. You can see there's some glasses here, so this is really a picture from the party that our customer has sent to us. And right here is just a small silhouette. You can actually see a person just doing something on their smartphone. What does it tell you about mobile? All right, and just a few words maybe around the road ahead, because this is all, very good. House of Fraser got their success, but they really are not a complacent company. They really want to go forward and forward. So what they are trying to do right now is a little bit change their concept from channel-centric to shopper and customer-centric. So they would like actually to have their accent on shopper-first and customer-centric innovation. Their final goal, of course, is to get greater loyalty and really drive forward new customer acquisition. They have even changed right now their KPIs or metrics for success. So right now they do not anymore measure success based on revenue per channel. They measure it on revenue per customer. And basically their final goal is, of course, to go global. They are now trying to explore international markets with the options that their UK site is providing, but they have their site set also on Australia and possibly China. So it looks like the exciting times are not over for both House of Fraser and eCommera as their partner in creating their online solution. Well, that was it. Thank you. Any
Thank
questions?
you so much. Let's get some questions going. Yes, there is one question there. I'll try to get the microphone. All right. Like this. Hello. Who is the gentleman with the question? There you go. It seems
Hello?
that it's not working. Well, that is awkward.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. You talked about color schemes for the site, which is clearly visible in bright sunlight. I've always been annoyed because my web sites don't look good when it's sunny outside. So, which colors would you recommend we can use?
That's a tricky question that I can't really answer. To be honest, remember that I mentioned on one of the slides that we had a team of UX designers from House of Fraser side. This is the colors that they chose. I myself am, as I mentioned, development manager, which means I'm also a programmer. So I write the backend and the logic, but not really choosing the colors. So not really sure how to answer here. I mean, this is something that their specialists have told us it's really important to choose, but I'm not the designer. Sorry about that.
Maybe I can chip in. I think just it's not so much about like which color it is, but like just make sure that there is plenty of contrast. Like
Thank you. You're a designer. I knew that.
Just one of the many things I do, obviously. But if it's a white page, don't put a pink button that is pale pink. Put either like something that's deep blue or black, so that there is enough contrast, because exactly of the sunlight thing. More questions? Yes, and I actually figure out how to. Obviously, I'm not an engineer, but I figure out how to work with the microphone. There you go.
Thank you, Philip Dechev. You told us that the period for implementation is 4 months.
Yes.
Was 4 months. What about the total time frame from the scratch to the end?
What do you mean about total time frame? Okay, basically these 4 months included the creation from the user designer team of all the mockups, all the PSDs, also the actual coding. This is all the whole 4 months. Then we had 1.5 months, which was user acceptance testing. So it's really around 5.5, or I would say more like 6 months, because after the end of the user acceptance testing, you also had some time before actually going into production, where you just have this technological time to make the release and push it forward. So it's more like 6 months. Okay.
All right. We got a question in the back, and there you go.
Hello, Stefan Jorbanov. I'll ask again his question more clearly. 1,000 tasks or tickets doesn't speaks a lot. How many hours are invested, and what platform stays behind the website?
Okay, how many hours? To be honest, I can't really calculate so quickly right now, but we had a team of 15 people who actually do real engineering work. So if you calculate 15 people working 22 days per month for 6 months, then you can get approximately the hours. Regarding the platform, it's actually a platform called Demandware. I'm not sure how popular this is in Bulgaria, especially with the business. It's pretty popular in the UK. It's popular in Bulgaria with the programmers. There's quite a few companies now that provide Demandware solutions. It's really kind of a large-scale platform. It's much larger than Magento, for example, or any such smaller solutions. It's really aimed towards enterprise business, the kind of business that House of Fraser is. But it's not a platform that our company creates. It's they are actually partners of eCommera, together with other providers of enterprise platforms for e-commerce like Hybris, as well, like Sterling Commerce as well. So we actually provide solutions based on these platforms. Did this answer the question? Okay.
Okay. All right. More questions?
No?
I have just one more question.
Come on.
Oh, it's going to be for the benefit of all.
All right.
So like if I have a shop, I want to get my online shop running. Like, what should I expect as a process? Like, if I go to you, how would the whole thing develop?
Well, depends on really the size of the business and the requirements, but if you go to us, then we will first meet you with our business analysts and our project managers who just describe what the costs are. It's the project managers, and then there's the business analysts who will actually take down all your requirements and translate them into not only requirements and how the site will look like, but also to numbers of what it will cost and the size of the team that will be able to do it.
So I'll be in good hands, even if I don't know anything about design and development.
Oh yeah, surely.
Excellent. All right. Give a big round of applause to Miryana.
Thank you.